Each day, almost 2 billion people across the globe log into Facebook, and Google gets around 5.6 billion searches per day. People rely on Google and Facebook for information on everything from current events to seeing their favorite movie stars. And now more than ever before, the fate of politics and politicians rests on the information shared on popular websites. Tech giants like Google and Facebook have a massive influence and the ability to shape the political narrative in global elections. A study conducted in 2010 showed that flashing a vote ad across the top of 1.6 million users' Facebook feeds caused 340,000 more people to decide to vote in that year's U.S. congressional election, when otherwise they would have remained undecided. Voter turnout is a major issue in U.S. elections, so encouraging more people to vote is considered positively engaging with the community. Still, there are fears that massive influence and control would be used to enable bias through digital gerrymandering. In elections, district lines determine where a person votes. The 2010 election mentioned earlier was vital because it was also a census year, which meant that whatever party was in control of the state after elections could redraw the district lines. Gerrymandering is when district lines were redrawn in a way that always makes one political party a majority across many districts, meaning that their party would expect to win the district elections, giving the party an unfair advantage and heavily affecting the election outcomes. Digital gerrymandering would happen if Facebook decided to only show that vote advertisement to people they had marked as belonging to a particular party. This influence would result in an increased voter turnout for one party and not the other, giving an unfair advantage through selection bias. This isn't the only way online media can change election outcomes. Both Google and Facebook optimize personalization. For instance, if you consistently check for Fox News on Google, your experience will be personalized so that Fox News links are shown more often in future searches. Similarly, on Facebook, you can choose whose posts you see and whose pages you like, and your advertisements will be personalized based on what information Facebook has on you. If you tend to like posts about specific topics, Facebook will continue to show you posts that are related. The goal with this kind of personalization is to deliver content that users find interesting and keep users on the site as long as possible. Unfortunately, this personalization creates something called a filter bubble, where you only see information and opinions that are in line with your own beliefs. When a user gets stuck in one of these filter bubbles, especially a political one, they often see only validating information about candidates they already support, and only see negative information about opposing candidates, if they see anything about them at all. Suppose a person is undecided on a candidate. In that case, their online activity may cause them to see information about only one candidate instead of all possible candidates, even if they aren't searching explicitly for political content. This narrows their awareness of opinions and can make it hard for candidates who aren't frontrunners to gain traction, even if their views might align best with the users. Studies have shown that this type of biased search result can shift the vote of undecided voters by 20% or more. Filter bubbles and digital gerrymandering are already influencing voting in dramatic ways, but the rise of fake news has fogged the political landscape even more. Fake news is defined as a news story that intentionally provides incorrect information. These stories are usually attention-grabbing and often well-disguised to seem like they are coming from legitimate sources. Fake news is making it hard to distinguish stories and opinions from facts. Users then misinform their network of friends and families because they believe the stories to be real. If we look at the 2016 U.S. presidential election, we can recognize several fake news stories being spread about both candidates, from stories of Hillary Clinton selling weapons directly to ISIS, to accounts of Donald Trump sending his personal jet to rescue Marines from battle. These twisted facts lead to false perceptions of candidates. Facebook has since worked to use artificial intelligence to curb the spread of fake news on its site. Still, with political parties claiming that the removal of fake news content points to a bias against their party, it is difficult to make progress while remaining objective. If tech companies want to claim a neutral stance on politics, They need to do their part to make sure that they are delivering unbiased information and keep fake news off their platforms. While they're working on that, there's a lot you can do to help as well. Awareness is critical. Try to pinpoint when you're being shown something that might be biased or fake, and spend an extra few minutes researching and thinking about it. Look at opinions you might disagree with, and try to understand what the other side is claiming. Search for information about different candidates' stances before voting, and if you see fake news, report it, and notify your friends and family as well to help stop the spread of misinformation. Whether you love or hate politics, they are an essential part of our society and determine the nation's priorities as a whole. We all have to do our best to ensure that algorithms are helping when used and not causing harm. This is Algorithms in Society.